Have you ever had a moment when everything around you felt familiar, yet something inside you whispered that you've changed? Like suddenly the world feels a bit more intense, a bit more mysterious, and somehow you're not the same person you were just a few weeks or months ago? That, my friend, could be the beginning of a spiritual awakening. And no, it doesn't mean you have to turn into a monk or start meditating in the Himalayas. Spiritual awakening is a deeply personal experience, a journey that feels less like climbing a straight ladder and more like walking through a spiral staircase. Sometimes looping, sometimes skipping steps, but always moving upward in some way. Let's take a deep dive into this journey, a path that many people unknowingly walk until something within them starts to stir. This awakening isn't about religion or dogma. It's about waking up to who you truly are, beyond the labels, the roles, the expectations. And while everyone's journey is unique, there are 5 common stages that most of us go through. These stages aren't always linear, and you might find yourself bouncing between them or stuck in one for years. But recognizing where you are can make a huge difference. So let's explore these stages together, heart to heart. Stage 1 is what we call the unconscious stage. This is where most people live for a long time without even realizing it. It's like being in a dream where you think you're awake. Here, your ego, the identity you've built based on society, your experiences, your fears, runs the show. You respond to life on autopilot. If someone says something offensive, you snap. If plans don't go your way, frustration builds. You're constantly reacting to the outside world as if you have no control over anything. Aur jab kuch bura hota hai, you internalize it thinking, why me? The ego in this stage is like a tight grip, refusing to let go, making you believe that your thoughts and emotions are who you are. In this space, control feels like an illusion. Life feels like it's happening to you, not through you. You're stuck in your story, your trauma, your past, your fears, and because of that, your view of the world becomes foggy. You see others through the lens of your own pain and judgments. You think you're understanding people, but you're actually projecting your own story onto them. It's not your fault. Most of us were never taught how to separate our true self from our conditioned mind. But this is also the stage where something begins to stir, even if subtly. That inner voice, which has been silent for years, starts to whisper, "There's more to you than this." And then comes the second stage, ego death. Now don't let the word scare you. It's not about literally dying. It's about letting the false sense of identity fade away. Imagine peeling off a mask that you've been wearing for so long that you forgot it wasn't your real face. That's what ego death feels like. All the things you once used to define yourself, your job title, your gender, your religion, your age, even your name, suddenly feel insufficient to explain who you really are. It's disorienting. You might feel lost, confused, even empty. You start questioning everything you've believed so far about God, about life, about yourself. But in that emptiness, something beautiful begins to emerge. A quiet presence. The observer. The you that has always been there, silently watching, but overshadowed by the noise of the ego. For the first time you realize, wait, I am not my thoughts. I am the one who notices those thoughts. That moment of clarity changes everything. You start to see your past conditioning, your habits, your reactions, not as you, but as patterns that were installed in you. And suddenly, the story you've been telling yourself your whole life starts to unravel. Once you've gone through this breakdown of identity, you enter the third stage, the search. This is where things get really interesting. You start asking deeper questions. Questions you never considered before, or maybe questions you did, but brushed aside because life is busy. Questions like, why am I really here? What is my purpose? Is there more to life than just working, paying bills, and growing old? You find yourself drawn towards spiritual books, ancient philosophies, podcasts, maybe even weird YouTube videos at 3 a.m. You're not just curious, you're hungry. Hungry for truth, hungry for meaning. In this phase, a lot of people turn to meditation, prayer, journaling, or just long walks with their thoughts. There's an inner urge to understand yourself, your soul, the universe. And while the search may begin intellectually, it eventually becomes emotional and energetic. You start to feel things more deeply: beauty, sadness, connection. Even your relationships start changing. You're no longer interested in small talk or drama. You crave depth, honesty, alignment. And yes, it can get lonely here, because the more you search, the more you realize how many people around you are still asleep. But you keep going, because your soul knows there's no turning back now. This journey leads to the fourth stage, the emergence of the authentic self. This stage is both liberating and challenging. You begin to drop the masks you wore to please others. Pretending becomes exhausting. You start to say no more often, not out of anger, but out of alignment. You can no longer be who you're not. The job you once tolerated, it now feels soul-crushing. Friendships that were once fun, they feel hollow. You crave authenticity in every corner of your life. And when you try to fake it, your body literally rebels through anxiety, sadness, or a deep sense of unease. This phase often brings big changes. Relationships fall apart. Careers take a new turn. You may move cities or even isolate yourself for a while. And in the midst of all this, old wounds come up. Childhood pain, teenage trauma, grief, all rise to the surface because now, finally, you're strong enough to face them. It's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. Your body also starts to shift. You might experience vivid dreams, emotional purging, or even strange physical symptoms. All of this is your system realigning with your higher self. And through this chaos, something beautiful is born, your real self. The one who isn't trying to impress, perform, or please. Just be. And finally, the fifth stage, alignment. This is what people often call living in flow. It's not that your life becomes perfect or that problems disappear. It's that your response to them changes. You're no longer fighting life, you're dancing with it. You begin to live in harmony. With your thoughts, your body, your surroundings, there's a deep inner peace. Not because everything is calm on the outside, but because you've made peace with who you are inside. You accept your flaws, your past, your mistakes, not with guilt, but with compassion. In this phase, you become your own nurturer. The parent you needed but never had, you become that for yourself. You learn to speak kindly to yourself, to give yourself space, forgiveness, and care. And as you do that, your compassion for others naturally grows. You stop judging, stop comparing. You realize everyone is on their own journey, doing the best they can with the awareness they have. Your relationships start to reflect this shift. There's more patience, more love, and most importantly, more boundaries, not out of fear, but out of self-respect. This alignment also connects you to the world in a new way. Nature no longer feels separate from you. You begin to notice the trees, the wind, the birds, as if they're part of your extended family. Even inanimate objects hold a certain vibration that you can feel. And in this state, you begin to live with a sense of purpose. Not always a grand mission, but a simple, grounded awareness that you are exactly where you need to be. You embrace both the light and the dark, not just in others, but in yourself. You no longer need everything to be perfect. You just need it to be real. And that is the essence of awakening. So if you find yourself in any of these stages, maybe stuck in ego, maybe searching for truth, or maybe finally meeting your authentic self, just know that you're not alone. The path may not be easy, but it's sacred. It's a return home, not to a place, but to yourself. And hey, if this message touched something in you, share it with someone who might be on this journey too. Because the more we awaken together, the more beautiful this world becomes.